So let's just get straight into questions, Nick. So when it comes to passenger experience and flow, how does data play a role here?
Data plays a huge role in passenger experience. Understanding, well, quite simply, queuing is a big challenge at airports, particularly at the moment as we recover from the pandemic. Understanding the queues and why they've built, and understanding how passenger behaviour has changed as well. A good example would be how passengers start turning up earlier than we would normally anticipate them. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have too few members of staff manning the security area, but in practice what they can mean is that if passengers are turning up when we're not expecting them to, we may not have the staff on shift at the right time. So understanding how behaviours are changing as a result of the pandemic is fundamental to having a successful operation, and the data really drives that. So a good example would be as passengers scan their boarding passes to go into security, that gives us a really good data set because we can combine that with the flight number of the passenger, and therefore understand how far in advance of the flight they're arriving, and we can model that and see how that's changing over time.
Absolutely. Well, maybe that'll take me on to my next question, which is, how does the use of new technology and data leverage operational efficiency throughout the whole airport, and then perhaps some examples again from Heathrow.
I mentioned ticket presentation being a really good data set, but actually one of the challenges that we do have is understanding when passengers actually arrive in check-in. You can make a quick assumption and say, okay, passengers turn up in check-in half an hour before we see them at security, but we don't actually know when they check in because that's kind of airline data. And new technology can help us to understand that better. So we can put video cameras in the ceiling and use AI and video analytics to identify the flows in check-in. We can see the signals from mobile phones and understand how busy it is and build pictures that way. We can also tie up kind of where we first see those mobile phone signals, and that helps us to understand what mode of transport a passenger has taken to arrive at the airport. And from a sustainability point of view, that's very important because we want to encourage people to take sustainable modes of transport to get to Heathrow, and so an understanding of which passengers are taking which mode of transport helps us to target the right passengers with the right message to hopefully nudge them towards a more sustainable choice.
Absolutely. And what are some future developments going on at Heathrow that you're most excited about?
I mentioned the mobile phone signals. I'm very excited about the possibility of that. The ability to aggregate that data completely anonymous, to understand dwell times throughout the passenger journey, really from curb to gate. One of the challenges that we also have from a commercial point of view is understanding the impact of the call to gate on the display boards. Some demographics of passengers see the gate being announced for their flight and immediately charge off to the gate. And from a commercial point of view, we'd love them to hang around and shop, particularly if they're going to wait for 40 minutes and do nothing at the gate. Can we identify kind of a balance between punctuality of the departing aircraft and maximising the opportunity for revenue in the retail areas of the departure lounge? So the more data that we have to understand how passengers behave, the better.
Aren't they called gate huggers? Is that what they're called?
Gate huggers. That is a term. That's a term I only heard quite recently. But yes.
Gate huggers. So non-aeronautical facilities is a huge hot topic at the moment. So the retail, food and beverage before. How can you really impression that onto passengers to make them stay within commercial areas?
I think there are lots of ways that we can do it. We can make sure that they have awareness of what's available. We're looking at innovative ways of I suppose branching out from that window, that kind of golden hour of shopping, as we tend to call it. Can we start being more innovative in terms of encouraging people to use a grab and go app? So enabling people to avoid the queues and choose their food before they've actually got through security. Even to the point of you're in your Uber on your way to Paddington to get on the Heathrow Express. Can you buy your Heathrow Express ticket through the Uber app? Well, yes, you can. Could you also use Uber Eats to order your food and it's waiting for you as you go through security? All sorts of possibilities that we're considering at the moment. And I think also building a relationship with the customer, with the passenger, through our loyalty program, such that we can target them with personalised offers, understanding where they like to shop and what they like to eat when they're airside, so that we can remind them of what's available and maybe ping them a voucher at the appropriate time as well.
Absolutely. So we speak a lot about digitalisation and data and new technology, but do you still think the human factor is crucial to a successful passenger experience?
Absolutely. I think we're all kind of swinging the pendulum back from remote working to actually seeing people face to face and coming to events like this. And I think there's a huge amount of value that people get from genuine face to face interaction. And I often think of the experience that you might get at somewhere like Disney World, where a smile and a wave can actually really kind of lift the spirits. So having those friendly faces in the terminal and having those one-to-one personal interactions, I think is very important.
So how did Heathrow utilise data-driven concept to handle the summer volumes, and has there been any lessons learned from the summer?
I think there definitely have been lessons learned from the summer. I think we had to rely on data. We work with the airlines to make sure that our passenger forecast is as good as it can be, because obviously that's the starting point for all our resourcing plans and making sure that we've got the right number of security lanes open, etc. I think a lesson that we learnt was that the process of getting back up to speed post-pandemic was probably longer than we anticipated. I think the passengers came back quicker, but the process of bringing in the right number of staff and training a large number of staff to get them back up to kind of top operating speed. You can have a lane open, but it doesn't necessarily process as many passengers as you'd expect it to. So we had to adjust our resourcing plans and our modelling to take into account the fact that there were a lot of members of staff who were not experienced as they might have been pre-pandemic.
Absolutely, and I guess the workforce is just so crucial, isn't it, to the success of the airport environment. Absolutely. And it's unfortunate to see the struggles that are going on currently. But so what's, in terms of the future of aviation, so when I say the phrase the future of aviation, what does that mean to you?
To me, and I admit I'm very biased, but to me I see a future in aviation that is much more data enabled. I think there are huge opportunities to bring together disparate data sets across aviation, not just within the airport but collaborating with third parties as well, to really understand the operation and the wider business much better, to build a relationship with the customer, and I think I hope really provide an experience. I heard on a question on a panel yesterday, someone asking whether airports were going to become so efficient that people were going to just kind of flow through them, and an airport would become like a train station or a bus station, and very soulless with nothing to attract people. I really hope that Heathrow and other airports really will be able to provide that experience and bring back the glamour of flying. And I'm not suggesting we go back to the kind of the golden era of aviation, but I want airports to be a destination, that people to be excited about flying. It is for many people the first kind of step of their holiday, and people want to be able to relax and unwind and have a great experience at the airport before they start their holidays.
Absolutely. I guess I talk a lot about the passenger experience, but it is more just the airport experience in general.
Yeah.
And my final question is, what's keeping you awake at night?
What's keeping me awake at night? That's a good question. Again, from a from a data perspective, I'm very heavily involved in trying to drive that digital transformation at Heathrow. And what keeps me awake at night is the idea that we might not land it, and we might miss an opportunity, and really miss an opportunity to deliver the potential that we have that I just described. We do great things at Heathrow, but it could be so much better, and I'm really excited about that future. And the idea that we miss that opportunity and keep doing what we're doing would be a very frustrating missed opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of exciting developments going on, and I look forward to seeing what the future brings.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure.